But he's left to decide who you'll worship. What you'll worship. The fact of the matter is, you will worship somebody. You will worship somebody. Now, I know the songs are a little funny at first, but, you know, I'm about to the middle of that, because I'm trying to think, do I just go through motions? Do I really exalt me? Do I just think that it's just my favorite song to sing? There's a filter over the houses of worship, and just people in general who sing. Or maybe they don't sing, but whatever you send up as worship, it has what's called, I would like to call a reality filter. And only the things, you send as much up as you want, but there is a filter over it, like you see, that God filters out all that is not authentic and not real. So the whole house is send up a big, great big praise. But the reality filter of it, you may get to consider that to be true. One consider that to be true. Now, watch this. We know in the beginning God created the heaven and the earth dropped along and the void. We understand the 6 days of creation, the 7th day of rest. I want to put a couple of fundamental truths here, and then we're going to move. First of all, we need to understand that when Jesus says, the Father seeketh such to worship, this is something in terms of, how do you say, this is a rarity. We never find the Father looking for anything. When's the last time we read about God looking for something? Looking for something. Looking. We don't find him because what he needs, he is already needs. So in the first 6 days of the earth, God created everything that he would ever need. And here's the key point. He created all of the elements that would be combined to make whatever else he would need. So we're sitting in a building with bricks and mortar and metal and rubber and electronics and all these things, but these are the outcomes of the different combinations that God said, let there be. Like, let there be. Let there be. All his let there be throughout the whole 6 days, we have it here. Now, he didn't say let there be wood, he said let there be tree. You see what I'm saying? He didn't say necessarily, some of y'all got diamonds on your finger. He didn't say let there be diamonds, but there was coal. And there was flesh. And those two things put together created diamonds. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So everything that was ever going to be created, God did it in 6 days. First. So, when God is looking for something, we found in John chapter 4, God seeks true worshipers. Yes. That same rule applies, means that whatever was needed for worship to be created was in those 6 days. Now, then the question becomes, what then is worship made of? On the elemental level, on the cellular level, on the just the basic, what do you need to have worship? Not the songs, although they're beautiful, not the dancing, although that was lovely. What do you need to have worship? Worship is made up basically of 3 things. A being with free will and an object of devotion. Or a subject, I should say, of devotion. A being with free will and a subject of devotion. The being us, the free will being the desire that God gives each and every one of us, and the subject of the devotion. Now, the first two are pretty clear. I'm a being, I have free will. But the last part is where we can find some balance. because the subject of devotion varies according to free will. And so oftentimes we fulfill our design for worship, because we're designed to worship. But the specifics of it is that we don't always worship who we're supposed to worship. That's right. Being got free will. So the question becomes, whom will you worship? Ask yourself, whom will I worship? That's your choice. That is your choice. But I want to make it clear, because a lot of people say, well, I'm not really worshiping. Yes, you are. By default. If you do not worship God, you will worship somebody or something. You cannot go throughout this life and not worship. By default, something will sit on the seat of supremacy in your life. For someone, that seat will be occupied. Now you can let God sit in the seat, or you can let someone else sit in the seat. Which goes back to the last time I had to share with you, by and large, in America at least, we sit in that seat. We sit there. And that's the problem that we're finding today. This is the basics, not the singing, not the dancing, not the lifting of the hands. Those are the expressions. But the worship in itself is devotion to a specific thing. Even if it's yourself. We need to make a difference between worship and what Jesus declares to be true worship. Jesus declares in verse 24, verse 23, the Father is seeking those that will worship in two, categories. Spirit and in truth. The Amplified says spirit and reality. So when you apply that, you basically say that there are two things that connect together and you get the worship that God is pleased with. Spirit and truth. Or spirit and reality. Everybody say spirit and reality. So when you have Adam walking in the garden, he's walking in spirit and reality. He's in a spiritual relationship, a spiritual communion with God. And in reality, he is obeying what he told him to do in the Genesis text. Don't eat of the tree. Eat of every other tree. Name this stuff. You got dominion. As long as Adam did all those things, he was walking in spirit and in truth. I asked you earlier, when's the last time you find God looking for somebody? The only other time I found it was when Adam fell. Because when Adam fell, God said, Adam, where are you? The reason why he said, where are you, is because the only place that God can see you and commune with you is in spirit and reality. If you fall out of the obedience of God, then you step outside the spirit and reality. So when God says, Adam, where are you? I checked in the spirit and I didn't see you. I checked in reality and I can't find you. You were just there a minute ago. Matter of fact, that's why I came, that's why I left you. But now I'm trying to find you. I can't. Where are you? And so the question I ask you today is, you're a worshiper, but where are you? Are you in spirit and reality? That's the only place where God will even deal with you. That's the only place where God does deal. He didn't even kill Jesus on the cross. And Jesus didn't even have his if he had someone else. Mine specifically. But when Jesus got on the cross with the sin of the whole world, God even had to turn. Jesus says, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? It's because he stepped out of spirit and reality. So your worship then is very key. As a matter of fact, let me help you. Anybody